Hello, my fellow pilots, and welcome again to another episode of Star Citizen FM, episode 60. Star Citizen FM is your fan community source for anything related to Star Citizen, the community, or anything else in the verse that might catch your fancy. Star Citizen FM is hosted by yours truly, Dr. Hawk, so join me as I go over a special local interview. And as promised, ladies and gentlemen, I have my two interviewees here for you. Today is a local corporation, some people that I both work with and play with. We have Sentinel and Stalker with the Styx Flight Group.
Hey, Hawk.
How you doing today, Sentinel?
Pretty good.
So, and you yourself, Stalker?
I'm doing very fantastic today. Thank you for having us on, Hawk.
No problem. It's nice to actually talk to some of the local citizens. I'm aware, but not many of the other citizens. You guys are from Edmonton, Alberta, correct?
Well, very close.
Yeah,
Not that doesn't matter if you're talking in internet terms.
Internet terms is what we're aiming for.
Yes, I'm definitely from Edmonton.
Well, anyways, thank you very much, like I said, for coming on the show. It's appreciated. And, why don't you guys, let's start off by, who you guys are with. What is the Styx Flight Group?
The Styx Flight Group is a group of people that, well, I guess I kind of got them together originally. And it's more of an organization that we're using just to do things that we feel like doing. We don't have so much of a charter or a goal that we're pursuing as an organization besides just having fun playing the game, getting out there. We discussed a lot of things about exploring, and we'd really like to steal someone's Idris someday, but
You have to tell
beyond
me about
that,
the
we don't
plans
have
later.
we don't have a whole lot in the way of concrete plans.
What about you, Aaron? Anything to add to that?
The Styx is generally, yes, just a group that of friends in meat space that got together and decided that we want to enjoy this game together. Leighton was definitely patient zero, and he just kind of pulled all of our group of friends in, and now we're, of course, thousands of dollars into this video game that's not out yet.
So is Stalker or Sentinel, could one of you explain the significance of the Styx? Because I actually know where you live, Sentinel, and I like to think I can see the connection here. Living
Well,
out in the
actually-
Styx, perhaps?
My location actually has nothing to do with it.
Ah.
I don't remember. I think it was me that originally came up with it, but it's actually a pun, and it's not a very good one. The pun involves the word joystick, sticks, flying space sims, that kind of thing, and it also is. It's spelled funny, spelled Styx, which is a reference to the river Styx, and we have created our ranks and roles and those kinds of things around items from Greek mythology that kind of deal with the topic of death. And I know our emblem is it's a coin called the obol, which is traditionally placed on the eyes of the deceased during their funeral ceremonies to pay the toll to the ferrymen and those kinds of things. It's very metal and also very silly and very melodramatic, because we're silly and melodramatic like that, kind of as a group.
Anything to add to that, Stalker?
No, I freaking nailed it.
Well, it's actually quite an in-depth explanation to it. It's nice to see that there's some thought-out depth to the corporation's background. I don't see many people using Greek mythology, or at least not yet. I'm pretty sure there have a few popped up since my absence. I'd have to look at the corporations popping up. So, why don't you guys tell me a little bit of what, the goals will be? I know you said that you don't have much planned, but surely there's got to be something. You said something about exploration.
Yeah.
Fun. Rule of fun has always been number one for us.
Rule of fun.
Yeah, we'd always joked about really working the economy system and really starting with exploration, especially day one, when that's what everybody's going to have to do, is do some exploration and start getting out into the universe. But then, we have a very large number of ships, especially across all of our members, and some of the guys have fantasies about, jumping in their caterpillar or another hauler, and being like a space trucker and hauling goods from place to place, and that would require other infrastructures like a mining operation or information gathering, that kind of thing.
Well, with those mining spiders that we've seen in the recent reveals from CIG, I'm pretty sure you guys would get a hand of some of those.
You're talking about the baby reapers?
Yeah, the baby reapers is a very good term for them.
Yeah.
Anything in particular that you guys would be setting up with your trade routes or anything like that, or just whatever?
Oh,
is needed?
we haven't gotten as far into the planning as figuring out what our trade routes are going to be.
Lumber, perhaps?
No,
Sorry.
no lumber. No, that's my real life job. I don't need to bring that into Star Citizen.
I'm sorry, couldn't help it.
We have done a bit of theory crafting just with the fleet makeup that we have about which ships we're going to use for what sorts of missions. We got one of almost everything, except for the Idris, and we're missing a couple of the Hornet variants and the 300 variants, those sorts of things. But we've got, let's see, we've got room for 42 pilots.
Nice.
On all of our ships, and I think we have only like 11 people flying with us at full strength, so we're not going to be able to do them all at once. But the one I think we've had the most fun bullshitting about is finding some undiscovered asteroid belt, and Bino, one of our guys, will head out there with his Starfarer, and the rest of us will be out there with freelancers and caterpillars and that kind of thing, doing some mining and salvage operations, and have a few guys flying escort, and just make as much money as we can there until the pirates start finding us and looking for fun.
Oh, that would be like Alera and all of our fellows in chat roll that like to talk about piracy.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come find you. Just offer them rum and you'll be safe.
Yeah.
If they don't kill you after giving it the rum.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. And then we've also got a retaliator that we can form a small strike group around, and
Very nice.
if we need to take out some hardened targets, we can do some of that on our own.
So, the dogfighting module is coming out pretty soon. Do you guys plan to use some of these ships of yours, as you just said, and practice with them? I know not all of them will be available right at the beginning, like the larger ones, but I'm pretty sure it'll help get a grasp of how the game plays and get you guys well acclimatized to the atmosphere of Star Citizen.
For myself personally, I'm gonna have a very similar experience to when the hangar module came out, and I'll have a little bit of fun with my Hornet, and that will be it, because all the other ships I own aren't modeled yet.
Oh, so you got the Cutlass and okay, I know.
Not even the Cutlass. At least the Cutlass has a statue. I don't.
Oh.
An M50 Caterpillar and a Gladiator, and none of them are modeled yet.
Hugs for you, my good sir. It's okay. It'll be okay. We'll give you an Aurora to float around it.
I'm not sure. I can't even really remember what Sentinel has currently. What do you have that would be up for DFM?
What do I got? Well, that'll be out for the DFM. I'm not 100% sure what they're going to have in V1, but I've got...
Pretty sure
Go ahead.
it's basic ships. We'll have our 300i available, the Hornet, the Aurora, and I'm pretty sure there's one other I'm missing. Just your basic pledge ships that came out first. Those that have had models and control surfaces and player functions.
If I'm lucky and they get the Stealth Hornet in there, then I'll have one of those to fly around. I've also got a base Aurora model that I'm waiting to trade in for that Mustang. But I'm really looking forward to the Avenger and the Constellation as well. I can't wait to carve some dudes up with my P-52.
That thing's looking pretty fun, actually.
Yep.
Actually, given what the hangar module has showed us, what do you guys think the dogfighting module will provide in return? Because the hangar module, there is some complaints that, it's just, you run around looking at your ships, but to other people it's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Do you have high expectations? Do you have low expectations? Are you expecting just a basic dogfighter? What exactly are your hopes and dreams for the dogfighting module?
Go ahead, Stalker.
I had some fantasies about what dogfighting module will have. What I was really, really hoping for was definitely bots and stats. And for any game, stats, unfortunately, I'm one of the really weird guys that likes to pull up a spreadsheet every time he plays a video game to try and kind of min-max certain things. And
If it makes you feel any better, I'm along the same route. My KD goes down 0.1 and I throw a controller.
and if I really can't pull up like a decent DPS on something, then why bother? And I would really like to be able to have some of those stats come up, no matter what really comes out of the DFM. If like a post PvP or post PvE, or just if I pull up an Aurora bot that I can beat up, what kind of damage am I pumping out? What kind of maneuverability am I getting out of my ships?
So
and maybe just have like a post. I almost want to say just like a little post game kind of stat roll come up from what happened.
Yeah, so
A
you
post-op debrief.
You want more of a, I guess you could say, mech lab in terms of what the dogfighting module is. You want something where you could just muck around and find your optional builds and then take them out into the real world and wreck shit.
Absolutely. It'll give me that little slight edge. I mean, everything in Star Citizen currently is just to give you that slight edge for day one launch, when Star Citizen is a full title.
Granted, you have the skill to fly it. Just because you have an Aegis doesn't mean you're good.
Exactly.
Which some people fail to grasp.
Yeah, so definitely moving around in DFM, getting used to controls, and maybe optimizing even just hardware from my desktop alone, I think is super valuable. I'm really looking forward to that.
What about you, Sentinel?
Well, I'm not quite as much of a spreadsheet guy. I have been known to look up DPS charts and that kind of thing for the Mass Effect 3 guns that me and Stalker have been playing the hell out of for the last few weeks. But for me, the thing I'm looking forward to most is just the feeling of getting back out in space. You know, I grew up on space sims. My first game that I really sank my teeth into was X-Wing. I had a Gravis gamepad with 5 buttons, and I went through, I played the Wing Commander games actually only as an adult. But the X-Wing, TIE Fighter, that whole Star Wars series of flight sims and the free space games and those kind of things, the thing that I enjoyed most about it was just the feeling of strapping into a cockpit and launching out into the black and just seeing what your ship can do.
Yeah, my father started me on those too. And, hell, I think it was Rebel Assault. I know it was more an on the rails one. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that got me in. Rebel Assault actually got me into the space sim because Rebel Assault was my first one. I think then it was X-Wing, and then X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and then TIE Fighter, and then a little bit of Wing Commander. So I definitely know what that feeling is like, that wanting to go back into that space environment. As for hopes and dreams, do you guys have anything that you'd like to see in the future that you know probably won't be included, but minus your ships there, Stalker? Because I know some of them we might have to wait on. But anything that you guys want to see, because this is an iterative game, so they'll probably be updating it as we go. Is there any things that you would expect or want to see?
Sentinel, I got nothing.
Anything that I would expect or want to see.
Aside from persistent, aside from the obvious.
Well, yeah. The first thing that honestly comes to mind is that scene from Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope, when they are shooting their way off the Death Star and, taking back the Falcon in the hangar there, breaking free the tractor beam and punching their way out of the fighter cover field for a nifty escape, right?
Right.
I know that's kind of Chris Roberts' dream for the game too. He's, from what I hear, the most excited about the Constellation and the multiplayer on the same ship gameplay and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really interested in seeing how he's going to execute that vision, because that's how I sold the rest of the guys that I've gotten into the game on the game. Is I showed them the Constellation brochure and I said, hey, I've got one of these. I'm going to need a wingman. You guys want to tag along? And over a period of several weeks, back in October, November, through January, they kind of started to, look at it and be like, wait, hold on. We've collectively dreamed about playing this game for decades. That's really cool. We should get on board. So, I'm looking forward to being able to share that, getting out into space with some friends and seeing what we can find.
All right. Anything to add to that, Stalker?
I've already played this game. I've actually there's multiple versions of this game actually that have come from Chris Roberts. They're just like slightly shittier versions of this game. We kind of all know those titles. We've probably all played them.
Freelancer was not shitty. You take it back.
Get out.
I still am a little choked that they didn't have joystick controls, but it was a good game.
Unfortunately, I played when it came to the online kind of aspect of Freelancer, I was a very vanilla version, and I didn't really get into any of the mods or really playing around with it at the time. I mean, that was what, 2004, 2005?
Around there, yeah.
I was actually a Wing Commander kid. My first space sim was Wing Commander 2, and I was just a fanatical follower ever since. Some privateer, and went back and played 1, and I actually liked Wing Commander 3 and 4, even though they get a lot of shit for the content. If I can have Freelancer but better, and with better multiplayer kind of PvE or PvP kind of gameplay, I would be very, very happy.
That sounds pretty fair. Now, what
Yeah.
about? And now I guess we can spitball into the, future here. Look into our magic ball. Everyone, of course, wants the persistent universe, and the Squadron 42. What do you guys hope to see or plan to do then? Because I know everyone's probably going to do their, Squadron 42 run, and not everyone wants to go AWOL. But, once that finally comes around and you practice with a dogfighting module, I know you said you guys are going to explore, practice, but still, just what do you guys want to see? What was the hopes and dreams and expectations of that?
Have a hell of a lot of fun. Now, that's kind of the big thing for me. I've got 2 kids and, a full-time job, and, spending time with my wife is something I like to do every now and then.
What?
Yeah. I don't have the time. I don't expect to have the time to put into creating a galaxy-spanning organization that rules the trade lanes and enemies quake to hear their name and all those kinds of things.
Don't want to be Goonswarm.
Yeah, no interest in becoming Goonswarm. But I was really excited to hear their plans to have, procedurally generated content, to always have something new to chew on. But I was more excited to hear about the ongoing mini story arcs that they'll be releasing once the persistent universe drops. 3 to 5 missions, and they talk a lot about how they want to run the persistent universe like a game of D&D. Seeing what the players are doing in universe, responding to that, and having player input and player experience shape how the persistent universe goes. That's my thing that I'm most interested in, is just seeing what kind of world we collectively make together.
It's actually very similar to Telltale's The Walking Dead series, or any of their games that you've done. Have either of you tried those?
I played
Episodic game content. Basically, players play the first season. They have the developers have in mind what the whole of what they're going to do, but they still respond to, oh, this happened. And
I actually find a better example to be a little bit farther in the past, and that was a very underplayed, less well-known game of The Matrix Online.
Oh my lord! Wow. Okay. Yep. We're going to use that one because I remember that.
They had constant streaming kind of new content at specific times, and they would be crazy, ridiculous things like Morpheus doing a terrorist run, and the things
spoilers.
I don't think anyone's
for a game that is no longer online. And they did that very well for a very long time. I think they did it for 2.5 years of constant new content for players to interact with. And I think that might not be too bad of a place to look back to look for plans for the future.
No, that actually is a very good example. I was a little too young to fully envelop myself within that, but I've heard stories and have friends who have said nothing but actually good things of the Matrix Online. So if they can replicate that same sense of feeding us episodic content and responding to what the players are doing, then all for them. I imagine you two have played EVE Online, and one of the biggest complaints that I've ever had is that the only player involvement ever seemed to be in written blogs and in fiction news broadcasting done by players. It never really evoked the same sense of, oh wow, I achieved this.
I don't know, when you have a 20-hour battle that costs potentially $350,000.
Have you also tried participating in one of those battles? They are not exactly fun.
No, especially with time dilation with groups of that kind of mass.
It's like getting kicked in the head with a soccer ball, except you have no, influence on what actually happens. You're just slowly watching it. Oh my, coming. It's like, okay, is it gonna happen? I shot the guy. I'm still. It's 5 hours later. I'm still waiting for the shot to connect.
Actually, like the really funny stuff that comes up behind that, I've actually never played EVE Online, but I'd like to hear news about it, and I like to hear the things that kind of the players come up with and how they get frustrated with how everything's being portrayed. But it's that kind of background stuff, like why was this, giant fight happen? And that's because two guys showed up and they wanted to buy a system, and the time lapsed and it was up for grabs, and everybody just looked at everybody else and said, "Want to fight for it?"
Well, in response to that, hopefully when a game is launched, SCFM, that is Star Citizen FM's goal, I want to be doing weekly live streams and news updates on, like, hey, this is where the current stock market's holding at, and this is what, Sentinel and Aaron decided to do. They decided to hold up a fueling depot and pissed off, the UEE. It'd be nice to do that, because I see this game having that kind of traction, is that not even the developers have to respond to the player actions, but users can easily create their own content.
I have a question for you, Hawk.
Uh-oh. No
Yeah, I know.
No questions on an interview.
Turning
Sorry.
the tables.
Go for it.
When the Persistent Universe launches and you're doing your weekly shows, are you planning on keeping it in universe, in character, that kind of thing?
Yes, I'm actually going to be slowly transferring my show into a more in-fiction show, because I've had requests for people who like... Well, see, Dr. Hawk is now seen as an actual person. I have people who actually treat Dr. Hawk as a pilot. And in response to your question, yeah, it will be. I'm going to have to, because some people enjoy that, and I find it's a little more creative that way. Because when you bring in the real world, sometimes you don't really want to talk about the real world, because the real world's boring, and we want to play Star Citizen, so...
Yeah, that's why we play video games.
Exactly, to ignore the world. So yeah, Dr. Hawk and Star Citizen FM will become, as much as I can make it, in fiction.
No, I look forward to seeing that transition.
It'll be fun. I'll be trying to figure out the logistics of that. It'll basically just be one very long, extended session of roleplay, but it shouldn't be that bad.
No, that'd be fun.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Stalker?
And this is something else that kudos, Hawk. I'm really impressed that you're doing that, and I've seen that before again in previous kind of multiplayer online in WoW. Actually, there are a number of people who do just strictly reporting in WoW, especially every time a DLC drops. They're doing those kind of things.
I've seen those. I don't remember the names, but I remember listening to a few sometimes.
And I mean, that's content. It's essentially brilliant content for people that are doing things in a video game that that's really not what the game was developed for, but this is something that the users are coming up with ways to use the system to create additional content in a way that the developers never even thought of.
I'll still have to find out if I decide to use Dr. Hawk, it just says as a call sign, or if Dr. Hawk really is an anthropomorphic hawk somehow existing in the Star Citizen universe.
Maybe you'll get lucky and the Teverin turn out to be some avian race.
Maybe I'll have to start talking to CIG. Can we get Dr. Hawk rendered in Star Citizen, fluffy head crest and feathers included? Oh no, wait, then that would make Zane and all our space raptors in chat roll jealous. How come he gets feathers and I don't? We'll figure that out when the time comes.
Maybe maybe somebody will mod up a model of of Falco.
Oh jeez, let's just stop. This is gonna get bad. Oh, now I'm thinking of Skippy the Frog.
People show up at cons dressed as Dr. Hawk.
Yeah.
That would be. No, that's yes and no. It's like, oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. But it's just like I envision a bunch of weird static hawk heads walking around.
How big are your feet, Hawk?
Okay, well, I think this is a good point to end this interview before we start going into R-rated territory. I'd like to extend a big thank you to you, Sentinel and Stalker, for taking the time to talk on Star Citizen FM, and look forward to hearing about your guys' endeavors in the Styx Flight Group when Star Citizen launches, and hopefully when the dogfighting module comes out, we can go over some live video content of either you guys gloriously failing or exceeding in every expectation.
In my case, it'll probably be more like lag baiting.
Okay, well, okay, CIG, please give, Sentinel. Oh no, yeah, we can't ask for boosts. We'll just nerf you.
Oh.
Same with you, Stalker. Thank you very much. If you guys want to add anything, go ahead. Otherwise, I think we've had a very good interview here.
Oh, yeah. It's been a pleasure, Hawk. Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Thank
If you guys
you.
would like to check out the Styx Flight Group, you can find them on the Organizations tab. There'll be a description in the link below in the YouTube description and also on the forum post. Be sure to check them out and apply nicely. Thank you very much for coming on, guys. And this is Dr. Hawk signing off. I do hope you guys enjoyed that interview, and I apologize for the lower sound quality. For some reason I can't seem to use my Blue Yeti during Skype calls. Otherwise, my bad stuff happens. So I'll work on that technical issue for you guys to make sure that you guys get a louder volume quality. And in the meantime, if you've enjoyed Star Citizen FM, please do click the subscribe button on the either top left-hand corner or by clicking on the fuzzy little hawk on the lower left-hand corner. I also do accept PayPal donations as well as criticism, so if you'd like to criticize about PayPal donations, you can do so by leaving a comment in the YouTube section below on the forums, or if you do feel like donating for Star Citizen FM, you can do so at lucas.g.drhawk@gmail.com, and to those of you that have donated, thank you very much, it does mean a lot. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Star Citizen FM. I eagerly await the dogfighting module as many of you do, and I look forward to finally having some video content for you guys. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I seem to be stuttering now. So you guys all take care and fly safe. This is Dr. Hawk signing off.